Mic check. Mic check. 1 2 3. 1 2 3.
Check, check, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Check.
A historic evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the momentous Gateway of India. Let us swiftly introduce ourselves, your hosts for the evening. I am Lieutenant Samson Moses.
And I am Nisha Krishna.
And on behalf of Headquarters Western Naval Command, would like to extend a hearty and warm welcome to you and also to those tuned in to today's events through All India Radio and Doordarshan, to the beating retreat and tattoo ceremonies.
देवी और सज्जनों, प्रोग्राम शुरू करने से पहले मैं आप सबसे अनुरोध करना चाहूंगी कि आप अपने मोबाइल फोन्स एयरप्लेन मोड पर रखें और तस्वीरें खींचते समय कृपया अपनी जगहों पर बैठे रहें। The Navy Day is celebrated on the 4th of December each year to commemorate the audaciously crippling attack on Karachi by the 25th Missile Boat Squadron, and also to celebrate the spirit and heroism displayed by the officers and men of Indian Navy on this very day in the 1971 India-Pakistan War, which left the port of Karachi in embers. Come, let us relive the golden moment in Indian Navy that changed history as we know it and shaped the geopolitical map of the Indian subcontinent once and for all.
Exactly 49 years ago, we had an opportunity to serve our nation as a force at sea. (1971). Millions were forced to flee from East Pakistan. With no political resolution in sight, conflict became inevitable. The Navy was tasked with delivering the hammer blow from the sea, with strikes aimed at decisive outcomes. Destruction of all Pakistani assets at sea and on land. Control of the sea in defense of the homeland. Total blockade of movements from ports in both East and West Pakistan.
The 1971 war was a watershed moment in the history of the Indian Navy. Admiral S.M. Nanda, the then Chief of the Naval Staff, was very clear that the Indian Navy must adopt an aggressive posture. The Indian Navy's contributions were instrumental in India gaining decisive victory in the war and towards the creation of a new friendly neighbor.
The night of 4th December 1971, it began with a daring, unprecedented strike by missile boats on Karachi, inflicting extensive damage to Karachi Harbour and shipping. Since then, we celebrate the momentous day of 4th December as Indian Navy Day. A second missile attack on Karachi Harbour achieved further destruction of the enemy and maritime dominance for the Navy. On the Eastern Front, in the Bay of Bengal, aircraft carrier Vikrant was a force multiplier for the Eastern Fleet. From airstrikes to the blockade, Vikrant's impact was forceful through the length of the conflict, as strikes by Sea Hawks prevented East Pakistani forces from using the seas. The enemy dispatched PNS Ghazi to nullify the advantage Vikrant afforded. However, the preemptive actions of INS Rajput gave Ghazi a watery burial near Vishakhapatnam. While action progressed at sea, the Navy also mounted special operations at Chalna Khulna harbors. INS Panvel and the two gunboats Padma and Palash, manned by the Mukti Bahini, entered and inflicted heavy damage on these harbors in the face of stiff resistance. Towards the end of the war, the likelihood of the enemy attempting escape into Burma, now Myanmar, became a distinct possibility. To prevent this, the Indian Navy executed an amphibious landing for the first time in the history of India. As we celebrate our victories, we also pay homage to the brave martyrs of INS Khukri, who made the supreme sacrifice in discharging their duty in the late hours of 9th December. We owe a debt of gratitude to martyrs and veterans of the 1971 war. So this year, we begin the Golden Jubilee celebrations of our victory and the Navy's decisive role in the conquest of a foe and
I believe that was an enlightening brief about one of the greatest moments in Indian naval history.
Though the primary objective of the Navy is to secure the nation's maritime borders, Indian Navy plays a unique role in strengthening our country's international relations. This is accomplished through goodwill visits to foreign ports, joint exercises with other navies, and humanitarian missions, amongst other tasks at sea. The innocence of children, coupled with their immense capability to learn and heal through tribulations, gives hope to humanity itself. Coming up shortly is an oral treat by the young stars of NCS that celebrates the 1971 victory through a soulful rendition of Teri Mitti.
ও আমার রোদ, আমার ছায়া, আমার ভূমি, আমার গাঁ, ও মাটি রে, মাটি রে, ও আমার মান, মোর সম্মান, আমার নিজের একটি নাম, ও মাটি রে, মাটি রে। ऐ मेरी ज़मीन अफ़सोस नहीं जो तेरे लिए सा दर्द सहे, महफूस रहे तेरी आन सदा चाहे जान मेरी या रहे न रहे। ऐ मेरी ज़मीन महबूब मेरी नस नस में तेरा इश्क बहे, फीका न पड़े कभी रंग तेरा जिस मुंह से निकल के खून कहे। तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा गुल बन के, मैं खिल जावा इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। तेरी नदियों में बह जावा, तेरे खेतों में लहरावा इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू। মুক্তিও মন্দিরও সোপানো তলে কত প্রাণ হলো বলিদান, লেখা আছে অশ্রু জলে। কত বিপ্লবী বন্ধুর রক্তে রাঙা, বন্দিশালা ওই শিকল ভাঙা। তারা কি ফিরিবে আজ সুপ্রভাতে, যত তরুণ অরুণ গেছে অস্তাচলে। ओ रांझनवी तेरी सांसों पे थोड़ा सा वतन का भी हक था, ना देख मुझे यूं मुड़ मुड़ के तेरा मेरा साथ यही तक था। ये तेरी ज़मीं तेरे खून से ही तो सजती संवरती है रांझी, तेरे इश्क की मैं हकदार नहीं, तेरी हीर तो धरती है रांझी। तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा गुल बढ़ के, मैं खिल जावा इतनी सी है
The prongs that make the spear of Indian Navy, namely the surface, air and submarine arms, along with the dedicated personnel that constitute this professional force, work seamlessly and efficiently to achieve all the objectives and tasks assigned, augmenting the range of operations in which the Indian Navy is employed. The four main roles are military, diplomatic, constabulary, and benign roles. Now let us soak in the essence of our Navy through a video by dwelling into what it takes to be a mighty force to reckon with.
India, a maritime nation with a magnificent maritime past. The only country that has an ocean name for it. To harness the full potential of the oceans, Resurgent India has articulated a clear strategy through our vision of Sagar. The implementation of the Act East policy and Sagarmala. The Navy are the custodians translating this vision into action as the first line of defense of national maritime interests and a net security provider for the region's maritime community. The Indian Navy, combative, dominant, holding sway by force of strength. A potent, multidimensional, multi-spectrum networked force. Ready to deter the enemy with relentless might and inexorable power. Providing seamless protection to the coastline and maritime assets. The Indian Navy has commissioned new naval bases like INS Sardar Patel in Porbandar, Gujarat, INS Dweep Rakshak in Lakshadweep to reinforce surveillance over vital shipping lanes to and from the Persian Gulf, and created IMAC to increase maritime domain awareness on a real-time basis. The Indian Naval Base at Karwar is developing into a smart naval station with infrastructure to house 50 warships with scope for future expansion. Baz, India's southernmost airfield in the Great Nicobar Island. The Indian Navy, sentinels of India's vast maritime interests and her emerging blue economic status, combating rising terrorism and piracy on the high seas. Committed to the protection of vital international sea lanes, buoying global economies. The fifth largest maritime force in the world, seeking 21st century solutions to 21st century challenges. Trailblazing a path of indigenization, the Indian Navy has transformed defense manufacturing. The Navy's dockyards support an agile, mobile and technology-driven force with the motto, delivering quality ships on time. In consonance with the Make in India vision, the Indian Navy has promoted skill development through innovation, expanded the indigenous fleet,
500, report after every 100 liter. SPL 250, DW 250, battery capacity.
inducted new platforms designed and developed in India. Seeking air superiority, the Indian Navy has inducted the state-of-the-art MiG-29K. And extended its maritime influence through the Boeing P-8I. Submarines add surprise and stealth. From the Foxtrot class in 1967 to nuclear propulsion, the submarine arm has defeated any misadventure. The Indian Naval Academy trains scholar warriors in engineering disciplines and soldierly skills. Young naval officers can now handle cutting-edge technology on state-of-the-art platforms with military character and professionalism. The tough training schedule at INS Chilka transforms young boys into seamen. Officers of friendly foreign navies are also given the same world-class training to harness the full potential of maritime partnerships. The Indian Navy, committed to a comprehensive strategy for external defense engagements, building partnerships, and developing interoperability.
Mumbai, the vibrant city that it is, was once an archipelago of 7 islands. The name Mumbai is derived from 2 words, Mumba or Maha Amba, the patron goddess Mumba Devi of the native Koli community, and Ai, meaning mother in Marathi. This de facto financial center of India is a fusing potpourri of culture, commerce, and entertainment. Tourism in Mumbai is never complete without a visit to the remarkable Gateway of India. This arch monument, dripping with history and sentiment, was built to commemorate the arrival of George V, erstwhile Emperor of India, and Mary of Teck, Empress Consort of India, on 2nd December 1911. Today, this protected monument of Maharashtra is under the aegis of the Archaeological Survey of India. As we slowly circle this heritage and begin to enjoy the festivities ahead of us, here is before you a short documentary from the 1930s of the erstwhile Bombay.
We are now approaching the city of Bombay, the gateway to India. And the first view that comes to our attention is the gate itself, an admirable illustration of Great Britain's constructive influence. Bombay is the second largest city of India and one of the chief seaports of the Orient. It has a mixed population of over 1 million people, representing practically every race and creed in the world. The Taj Mahal Hotel is unquestionably the most pretentious one in all of India. One of the outstanding features of Bombay is its sudden transitions from the modern to the ancient. This scene, for example, was taken a few minutes from the heart of the city, where the 15th century is constantly rubbing shoulders with the 20th. These automobiles cutting into this line of ancient vehicles suggest an odd symbolism which typifies all of India. For time and time again, the new cuts into the old. But the gap is soon filled in, and the ancient procession goes on in strange defiance. At the famous race course in Bombay, we are again transported into another world, for here is gathered representatives of every nationality, creed, and color. The course itself is considered to be the most picturesque, if not the finest in the Orient, and continue on to a picturesque fishing village just a short distance from Bombay. This quaint little habitation seems to have no connection with the mainland, and life in general appears to be carried on quite apart from the outside world. All the people who live here are engaged in the fish industry, and as strange as it may seem, many of them are strict vegetarians, and therefore will not eat fish of any kind. Of India could possibly be complete without a view of its royal elephants on parade. Here we are reminded of the wealth of India and the splendor of the days that used to be. This is just a rare and special occasion, staged by one of the wealthy Maharajas at a grand social event. The headpieces worn by these elephants are made of solid gold and are studded with magnificent jewels. But now our journey is coming to an end. We will take one last look at Bombay before we draw our visit to a close. To the observing tourist, this view is more than just a picture. It is Bombay, the gateway to India. Through it flows the commerce of an empire. Great commercial houses, stately public buildings, and educational institutions flank its broad thoroughfares. Railways converge here from every state in India, and steamship routes diverge to the ends of the earth. Such has been the first constructive imprint of Western civilization upon this much talked of and generally misunderstood country. And so our journey ends.
We have a lovely evening ahead of us, packed with action, music, and ceremonial grandeur. Let us take this opportunity to run you through what you're going to witness at this historic venue today. The Indian Navy Marching Band, whom you can hear in the background playing military music, will enter the display area in front of you. Indian Naval Chetak helicopters will start the operational demonstration with a search and rescue display, followed by synchronized maneuvers to demonstrate the versatile nature of this lightweight single-engine helicopter. Thereafter, we will have a demonstration of helicopter-borne anti-submarine warfare operations that would be undertaken by the Sea King Mark 42 Bravo helicopter of the Indian Naval Air Squadron 330. This will be followed by the insertion of fully armed and self-contained Marine Commandos, also called Marcos, from the Advanced Light Helicopter by having them slither down a rope, following which they will carry out a quick waterborne ingress on board a rubberized craft to their operations area.
The chief host for this evening is Flag Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Western Naval Command, Vice Admiral Ajendra Bahadur Singh, Param Vishishta Seva Medal, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, ADC. The chief guest for this evening is the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, Shri Bhagat Singh Koshyari. On arrival of the chief guest, you are requested to rise, following which the band will play the national anthem. You are requested to stand at attention until completion. Personnel in uniform are required to salute. Thereafter, the band will march in and commence the beating retreat ceremony. देवियों और सज्जनों, मुख्य अतिथि के आगमन पर आप सब से उठने का निवेदन है। मुख्य अतिथि के आगमन के बाद बैंड द्वारा राष्ट्रगान बजाया जाएगा, जिसमें आप सब से सावधान में खड़े होने का निवेदन है। वर्दीधारी अधिकारियों से अनुरोध है कि वे सलूट करें। इसके बाद बैंड का आगमन होगा और बीटिंग रिट्रीट सेरेमनी की शुरुआत की जाएगी।
The beating retreat ceremony will conclude at sunset, which will be marked by the ceremonial lowering of the Indian Navy's flag, the white ensign, hoisted on top of the monument. You are requested to rise for the sunset ceremony. Personnel in uniform are to salute. This will be followed by an aerial salute by the Indian Naval Helicopter Fleet, comprising of Chetak, Sea King, and ALH, operating from INS Shikra, right here in Mumbai.
Upon completion of the aerial salute, there will be the tattoo ceremony performed by the Naval Central Band and silent continuity drill displayed by the Norwegians of Western Naval Command. We will then have the sailors' hornpipe dance by cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps and light tattoo drummers call, followed by the finale comprising all the participants of this evening's extravaganza. Culminating it all will be the coordinated illumination of Indian naval warships. Ladies and gentlemen, the program will end with the national anthem, for which you are requested to rise while personnel in uniform are to salute. The chief guest would depart thereafter. We request you to kindly remain seated till the chief host also leaves the venue at the end of the program and wait for the announcement.
That was a brief overview of the exhilarating fare that we have prepared for you on this momentous day. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Today, we will get more than a taste of the famous and well-traveled Indian Navy's marching band. The acronym of the event, BRTC, is simply Beating Retreat and Tattoo Ceremonies. I'm certain that some of you have wondered what this business of beating retreat is all about. The ceremony of beating retreat has its origins in the practicalities of early warfare, when the drum was the principal means of sending out signals to troops engaged in the din and fury of battle. Of the many specific signals conveyed by the beating of drums, one that was sounded every day was retreat, which signaled troops to disengage from combat as daylight faded and ordered them to withdraw to the confines of the encampment before the pickets were set for the night. Even as I speak, the band is leading a most impressive contingent that is marching 6 abreast down the picturesque PJ Ramchandani Marg. On our right, from the Radio Club to the Taj Mahal Hotel, in proud affirmation of the victory achieved by our country in the 1971 war. It also serves as a reminder of the victory of our city over those who tried to terrorize and intimidate us at this very location. For your information, The PJ Ramchandani Marg is named after late flying officer Prem Ramchandani, who gave the supreme sacrifice during the 1965 Indo-Pak War. Interestingly, he was also a Sea Cadet and continues to be a role model for young cadets today.
Enveloping the band is a colorful marching contingent made up of a mixed troop of standard bearers comprising 32 sailors of the Indian Navy and 16 young girl cadets drawn from the Sea Cadet Corps. These young men and women proudly bear flags and standards that are relevant to this evening's ceremonies. The national flag is borne aloft on the extreme marching right, along with the Indian Navy's flag, the white ensign, standard of the city of Mumbai, showing the crest of the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, or BMC, and the flag of Sea Cadet Corps. On the extreme marching left is the standard of the Western Naval Command. We hope it would interest you to identify these flags and standards when the standard bearers finally come into the plaza. During the band's march from the radio club to this plaza, the impressive pomp and pageantry of the Navy will be juxtaposed with one of the most traditional of maritime dances, the Sailor's Hornpipe Dance, performed by 60 young girl cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps along with 10 drummers. This dance is a 16th century Irish jig with a 300-year-old association with sailors and sailing ships. The young drummers and flag bearers, also of the Sea Cadet Corps, will provide their distinctive flair to the performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to wait a little longer. However, I'm sure that each one of you will be utterly captivated by the skill and dexterity of the young cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps. It is undoubtedly one of the country's finest voluntary, non-governmental youth organizations. Established in Karachi in undivided India in May 1938, the Sea Cadet Corps relocated to Mumbai in 1948, and over the past 8 decades has remained true to its aim of instilling skills and values through nautical and allied training. The Sea Cadet Corps now boasts of 10 units across the country. The Corps' more than 40,000 ex-cadets are today productive and caring citizens of our great country, shining in a number of diverse fields and professions, including the Indian Armed Forces and the Merchant Marine.
And as the marching contingent continues to delight the thousands of Mumbaikars and tourists crowding the seawall opposite the many stately homes that make up this part of the famous Mumbai seafront, let me once again welcome each one of you to this evening's beating retreat and tattoo ceremonies, as your presence, O Mass, this evening demonstrates the living proof of resilience of our city and the never say die spirit of our country and our Navy.
The term beating retreat comes from the beating of the drums in a particular way and at a particular cadence to send out a particular signal. This ceremony is over 450 years old and is firmly set within the historic traditions that have been built around what is arguably mankind's oldest organized activity, namely war. The original call of retreat was beaten by drums alone, and it was some time before that fifers were added to play tunes. A fife is a small, high-pitched transverse flute similar to a piccolo. With the passage of time, the bugle and other musical instruments were added as accompaniments. At the end of the ceremony, we request all guests to join us for the at-home function and proceed to the Navy House through Anushakti Bhavan. Do keep your at-home passes handy. As the borders of kingdoms expanded beyond shorelines, the tradition of sounding the drums became a tradition for showcasing the armed forces on ceremonial occasions. In India, the 4th of December is celebrated as Navy Day and hence is considered an apt occasion for the ceremony of beating retreat, since the practice of lowering the ensign at sunset is universal across the armed forces. The beating retreat ceremony traditionally culminates with sunset.
As India gained her independence in 1947 and then transformed in 1950 into a vibrant and democratic republic, the abiding value of military tradition was both recognized and acknowledged. As a consequence, over the past 6 decades and more, the ceremony of beating retreat has been established as an integral part of the military tradition of India and is today a much anticipated tri-services spectacle performed every year in New Delhi by the massed bands of the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, and the Indian Air Force.
Set against the backdrop of the majestic gateway of India and overlooking the Arabian Sea, the setting sun casts a magical spell on the complete vista. So put all thoughts to rest and let the senses rule to witness the magic of interplay between military discipline and free spirit of music. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome our viewers and listeners on All India Radio, Doordarshan and YouTube as we go live from the Gateway of India. As you can hear from the growing sounds of martial music, the naval band and the marching contingents have almost arrived and are now assembling just outside the plaza.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Indian Navy Marching Band as they make a grand entrance into this historic plaza, accompanied by the standard bearers.
And now, if you look up towards your right, emerging from the sky are the Indian Naval Chetak helicopters to commence the operational demonstration. The INAS 321 Fleet Support Squadron is known as Angels. Aptly named, these Angels of Mercy are attested by the innumerable lives they have saved in search and rescue missions or in prompt evacuation of casualty from the battlefield. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chetak helicopters are showcasing the process of recovering survivors at sea. You will see that trained divers are being lowered into the water, who will then proceed to rescue the survivors at sea. As you can see, the diver is being reeled back into the aircraft using its rescue winch. And now for the coordinated maneuvers as these Chetak helicopters are carrying out spot turns. Can we have a huge round of applause for the brave men for such an immaculate display of dexterity in saving lives in peril at sea? As you have seen, rotary-winged aircraft, being versatile and unique in their capabilities, are the most suitable for search and rescue and other such operations. Their unique capability of hovering, that is remaining stationary at a spot, is exploited in vertical replenishment of men and material, casualty evacuation, anti-submarine warfare, and insertion and extraction of special forces.
Next in line is the hulking giant, the Sea King Mark 42 Bravo anti-submarine warfare helicopter from INAS 330, as they will showcase the evergreen dunk maneuver. This giant bird of steel will recover to hover at a height of mere 50 feet from the water surface. Shortly, the helicopter will lower the sonar body, which is the underwater ears used by the naval air operations officers on board the aircraft to detect the lurking submarines in the depths of the ocean. No wonder an anti-submarine helicopter is the most potent enemy of a hiding submarine.
As you can see, emerging from the aircraft is the brightly colored sonar dome, which aids in detection of the ever-elusive submarine, which can then be engaged with multiple anti-submarine warfare weapons carried on board, such as the depth charge and a torpedo.
Let me add, ladies and gentlemen, the helicopter is using all of its engine power during this particular maneuver, which I'm sure will be vouched by the crowds feeling the massive downwash of the rotor blades. There's no room for error. Well, that's just another day in the life of an anti-submarine warfare crew. Can we have a huge round of applause for the brave men for a fantastic display of professionalism and alacrity?
We shall now witness a spectacular simulation by the daring Advanced Light Helicopter. It will incorporate a heliborne ingress, a tactical insertion of a covert ops team. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, a small Gemini is ready to induct the Marcos and is taking its position below the ALH at hover. Emerging from the helicopter is one Prahar of the Indian Naval Marine Commandos, or the Marcos, slithering into the water as the first part of their mission. Slithering is the technique in which the Marine Commandos are lowered down from the helicopter into a hostile environment via a rope. It needs tremendous strength and courage to pull off such a heroic act. Let me add, ladies and gentlemen, the Marcos are fast roping down from a height of over 50 feet.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, completes the successful insertion of the Marcos Prahar. As you can imagine, it is not easy, this slithering business. It needs speed, strength, agility, tremendous focus, and courage beyond measure. The lives are at stake, but the never say die attitude is a core attribute of the Marine Commandos. It is no wonder that they are revered amongst the most elite special forces in the world. Can we have a huge round of applause for the brave Marcos and the air crew for an excellent display of courage and military tactics?
As we await the arrival of the chief guest, let me explain the difference between the ceremonies of beating retreat and the tattoo. The beating of retreat recalled troops from the battlefield and into their billeting area. The tattoo, on the other hand, was a beating of drums within the billeting area that ordered troops to proceed to their quarters. Over the years, the tattoo has been enriched by the inclusion of traditional, folk, and contemporary sounds and movements. Rather than remaining static within purely martial bounds, this strictly military form of pageantry has in many cases acquired distinctive celebratory features, becoming more of a music festival. To this extent, therefore, the tattoo is very much a living, evolving, and dynamic ceremony.
चलिए थोड़ा सा जान लेते हैं हमारे आज के मुख्य अतिथि के बारे में। श्री भगत सिंह कोश्यारी महाराष्ट्र के 22वें राज्यपाल हैं। उनका जन्म 17 जून 1942 में उत्तराखंड के बागेश्वर जिले में हुआ। अंग्रेजी में मास्टर्स डिग्री प्राप्त करने के बाद उन्होंने एक शिक्षक एवं पत्रकार के रूप में काम किया। कोश्यारी जी का राजनीतिक जीवन का प्रारंभ उनके शिक्षण काल के दौरान ही हो गया था।
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the chief guest, the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, Shri Bhagat Singh Koshyari. You are requested to remain standing for the national anthem which will follow. Uniformed personnel are required to salute during the national anthem.
देवी और सज्जनों, मुख्य अतिथि पहुंच चुके हैं। आप सबसे अनुरोध है कि अपनी जगह पर खड़े हो जाएं। राष्ट्रगान के दौरान वर्दीधारी अधिकारियों से निवेदन है कि वे सलूट करें।
Ladies and gentlemen, the chief guest has arrived and all are requested to remain standing for the national anthem. Personnel in uniform are to salute.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. अब हम बढ़ते हैं संगीतमय समापन समारोह, बीटिंग रिट्रीट और सूर्यास्त विधि सनसेट सेरेमनी की ओर। कृपया स्वागत कीजिए भारतीय नौसेना बैंड का, जिसका नेतृत्व कर रहे हैं मास्टर चीफ म्यूजिशियन एम एंटनी राज।
Ladies and gentlemen, accompanied by the graceful tubular bells atop the Taj Mahal Hotel, please welcome the world-famous Indian Naval Band, which is being led by Master Chief Musician M. Anthony Raj.
देवी और सज्जनों, आप सबसे अनुरोध है कि सूर्यास्त विधि के लिए अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं। सभी वर्दीधारी अधिकारी सलूट करेंगे।
Ladies and gentlemen, you are kindly requested to rise for the sunset ceremony. Personnel in uniform are to salute.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would request you to gaze to your right. Approaching the venue, first for the aerial salute, is the Chetak helicopter from 321 FSS with our beloved national flag and the naval ensign. The aircraft is being flown by Commander Srijit Gopal. The Chetaks are versatile, lightweight, multi-role helicopters that have been rendering yeoman service to the country for more than 6 decades.
Close behind are 3 Chetaks of the 321 Fleet Support Squadron in an arrowhead formation with Commander Kulkarni, Commander Rahul Verma and Lieutenant Varun Singh.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the latest addition to the stables at INS Shikra, the indigenous Advanced Light Helicopter Mark III MR. The Phoenix, as they identify themselves, is being flown by Commander Lokesh Mathur. It is a state-of-the-art machine encompassing latest avionics and mission equipment capable of carrying out various afloat operations.
Ladies and gentlemen, following the Phoenix, we have a Sea King Mark 42 Bravo helicopter of INAS 330 with harpoon leader Commander Deepak Diwan. These stalwarts of anti-submarine warfare are fondly denoted as the flying frigates, for their warfare prowess is in no way less than a frigate ship. It's time to hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen. We have the magnum opus, the showstopper of the airpad demonstration this evening. Emerging from behind the gateway and soaring into the blue sky is a Sea King Mark 42 Charlie flown by Commander Mahesh Singh of the Marine Commando Flight of INS Shikra for a speedy extraction of the Marcos from their area of operation after a successful mission. This operation is termed as STIE, that is, Small Team Insertion and Extraction. Bravo! What a well-accomplished mission that was.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for the Angels, Zappers, Harpoons and Phoenix from INS Shikra and the Marine Commandos of the Western Naval Command.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me reintroduce you to our immaculate naval band as they once again take the stage to enthrall us with their spellbinding performance. Let us not forget the magnitude of the effort that goes into putting together such a coordinated display. The fact that majority of the instruments are wind instruments, and to play them while marching to the beat is truly an awe-inspiring feat. With that, let us be amazed by the Naval Band. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause for the Indian Naval Band? Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause for our naval band.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now present before you a speechless and self-controlled military drill known as the Continuity Drill by the 22nd Missile Vessel Squadron, known as Killers. The valiant predecessors of these brave men unleashed the deadly attack on Karachi on the glorious night of 4th December 1971, going down in history books for all of eternity. This particular drill sequence is special as it inculcates unity of purpose and esprit de corps and self-control, values that are essential attributes of men in uniform, which is why drill is rightly considered as the bedrock of discipline. The contingent has been trained and led by Master Chief Petty Officer, Gunnery Instructor Madhusudan Dubey. Do watch out as the platoon forms up in a figure of 75, symbolizing 75 years of independence of our country. I am sure the high-energy movements with clinical precision executed without any commands will enthrall you. Can we have a huge round of applause for these brave men?
Vande Mataram! भारत माता की भारतीय नौसेना की पश्चिमी नौसेना कमान की
That immaculate display of precision truly calls for a thunderous round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our naval band once again as they take to the plaza for the next program.
देवी और सज्जनों, अब बारी है इस खूबसूरत शाम को शानदार और यादगार बनाने की। अब आपके समक्ष सी कैडेट कोर के जोशीले जिंदा दिल कैडेट्स अपना उत्साह और कौशल लेके आ रहे हैं।
These 70 young and exuberant cadets, comprising of 60 dancers and 10 drummers, are going to present before you the Sailors' Hornpipe Dance for accompaniment during this Irish jig, so beloved of mariners of yore, as it replicates and performs various ship-based sailor tasks like climbing, rigging, and hauling that a sailor would complete as part of their onboard daily duties. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the cadets of the Sea Cadet Corps as they enter the plaza.
देवी और सज्जनों, आप सबसे फिर से अनुरोध है कि तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट से सी कैडेट कोर के इस नन्हे जोशीले कैडेट्स का उत्साह बढ़ाएं। No tattoo ceremony can be complete without the drummers themselves. We now present the magical light tattoo drummers as they woo you with their dazzling performance. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the magical light tattoo drummers into the plaza. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for these amazingly talented young men who bedazzled us with their performance. as the drummers are marching off to the tune of the Victory Flame, the Indian Naval Band is advancing towards the plaza along with the standard bearers. As a befitting finale to this momentous occasion, the Naval Band is playing the evergreen melody Sare Jahan Se Acha as the performing contingent is assembling back into the plaza to bid their final farewell to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please extend a lavish shower of applause for our performers as they have showcased nothing but the finest of their showmanship for us this evening. देवी और सज्जनों, आप सबसे अनुरोध है कि राष्ट्रीय गान के लिए खड़े हो जाएं। वर्दीधारी अधिकारी सलूट करेंगे। आप सबसे नम्र निवेदन है कि सुर से सुर मिलाकर राष्ट्रीय गान को उत्साह और जोश से हमारे साथ गाएं।
Ladies and gentlemen, you're kindly requested to rise for the national anthem. All personnel in uniform are to salute.
Contingent, Rashtriya Salute, Salame, First. Contingent, Pagal, First.
As we come to the close of this year's beating retreat and tattoo ceremonies, may I draw your attention to the gateway and the harbor beyond, where Indian naval ships at anchorage are illuminated synchronously along with the shore establishments around us. So symbolic of the grandeur and pageantry that has been on display this wonderful evening. The magnificent silhouettes that you see are INS Subhadra, which is visible through the gateway, INS Pralaya, INS Tarasa, and INS Brahmaputra on the horizon. This is the Indian Navy's way of celebrating this momentous eve. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do hope that you have enjoyed the performance presented before you. We trust that these brave men find a place in your hearts as they stand guarding the seas of our country beyond the horizons that are visible from the shore. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Western Naval Command, we bid you a fond farewell from this year's ceremonies of beating retreat and the tattoo. Thank you.
We request all our guests to join us for the at-home function and proceed to the Navy House through Anushakti Bhavan. Do keep your at-home passes handy. We request you all to feel free to appreciate and enjoy the evening's majestic setting. You are free to click photographs and cherish these wonderful moments. Hoping the memory of this remarkable evening stays with you until we meet next year. Once again, thank you for being such a wonderful and spirited audience.